Okay, we can't avoid it any longer. In our discussion of the death of God, it's time to talk about what is called atonement theory. The reigning evangelical position is that Jesus died in order to pay the penalty for mankind's sin. God the Father vented his anger upon his own Son and punished him in our place so that he could then show mercy to us. According to this view, God had no choice here. His unflinching holiness demands retribution for even the smallest infraction, which is why Jesus stepped in to suffer his Father's anger so that we could then be forgiven. There are many problems with this position, but here's the biggest one. This view fails to appreciate the cataclysmic shift from law to grace and from the Old Covenant to the New. In fact, it's just a doubling down on Moses. If the satisfaction of the bloodthirst of a broken legal covenant is what greenlights grace, and if God's hands are tied until he gets his pound of flesh, who's really in charge here? God can't just look the other way, we are told, but why not? He's God, isn't he? If my son does a poor job of cleaning his room despite his best efforts, I, as his father, can just say, "It's fine, buddy, don't worry about it. You can go play now." I don't have to find some other child to step in and clean the room perfectly and then spank him for my own son's poor job. I can just decide to accept the imperfect job my son did as good enough if I feel like it. After all, who cares? I love my kid. That's what really matters. To echo Jesus, if I as an earthly father can show grace to my son regardless of his performance, how much more will God show mercy to his children? When we find ourselves staring into the void, we can remember that Jesus faced it as well. And rather than standing his ground and saying, "Don't tread on me," he suffered willingly in order to break the cycle of escalatory violence and show humanity a better way. After all, if exile is not merely a different but equally imperial alternative to empire, but is instead a suspicion of that kind of power, then perhaps resisting the urge to explain the death of God and letting it remain a weak and foolish mystery is the most consistent response to the matter. I mean, if Jesus himself asked why, who do we think we are?